Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Hello and welcome to another episode on the Online Trainers Podcast, and I hope you are having an absolutely killer day. I hope you're absolutely crushing it, but more importantly, I hope you're enjoying all the content I'm putting out, because if you're not, that's just too bad. I'm going to keep putting out more content, but I digress. What I want to talk to you about today is a big issue that most personal trainers I talk to, and once I thought I had myself. I thought I had this big problem, and that was generating leads. Now, I'm sure you've seen, like many other personal trainers before, Facebook ads that say how to generate 100 leads in the next 24 hours. And you've probably opted in for a PDF, and you're probably being cold called by people trying to sell you coaching. Today, I really want to talk about why leads isn't your problem. And the biggest problem that you have isn't about generating leads, it's actually converting leads. It's having that back-end system set up. And a back-end's quite a technical term, just in terms of, your front end might be your ad and, your offer, your lead magnet. Your back end might be how you're actually converting these leads into customers. And so I'm going to start using these, little bit of high technical terms along the way, but just bear with me. Now, one thing is that most personal trainers want to get more leads. They want to get more leads coming through the door, but that's not an issue, because you know what? If you needed leads in the next hour, you could run a Facebook ad and you could set up some sort of a lead magnet, and you could end up setting up a funnel that gets you their phone number. And that's pretty basic, because that's what, we've talked about inside the Online Trainers Club group on Facebook. And if you're in there, you'll see one of many funnels that I've been able to show you, which generally goes like a Facebook ad into some sort of a lead magnet, into possibly a couple of videos of you telling them about and helping them solve a particular problem. But more importantly, then you give them the opportunity to come and work with you and, jump onto a consultation with you. That's a pretty stock standard lead magnet funnel to get somebody on the phone. And if you're not implementing that, or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, jump into the Online Trainers Club group now and just check out, if you search lead magnet, something should pop up, and I go through a complete video series of how you can set one up. But I digress. This is one of the reasons why you don't have a lead generation problem, is because lead generation and collecting numbers is easy. It's simply just putting up an ad on Facebook, pumping money into it. A lot of personal trainers aren't comfortable with spending $10, $15 per lead, because they don't have the right conversion process in place. That is, they're not comfortable, and you might not be comfortable with getting somebody onto the phone and selling them into your program. You might be selling them onto maybe a $50 a week program, and if they drop off after a couple of weeks, well, you've essentially spent a whole lot of time, you spent a whole lot of money on ads, and you really haven't seen a return. You've probably made less than, a paper delivery boy in the end for all your time spent. And I see that quite often. A lot of people will tell you, hey, if you're putting $50 and generating some leads into Facebook, and it's costing you $50 per lead, and every time you make a sale, it's worth $1,000 to you. How much money would you put into Facebook? How many times would you put money in if you're going to put in $50 and you're going to see $1,000 come out the other end? And my friends, that might be good in theory, but here's what I found, and here's exactly what I was struggling with a few years ago, that concept of putting $50 into Facebook to get leads and then making a sale to make $1,000 works. But it only works if you're not the actual person fulfilling, you're not the person selling, then it sounds like a pretty damn good idea. But here's what the problem is. Most people are putting $50 in or $100 in and getting these companies and these business coaches set them up with this type of a funnel, and you end up draining yourself, because now you've got to fulfill for 16 weeks, and chances are you don't have the systems in place to get your clients results. I know, because I didn't have the systems in place to get my clients results, and I can see, judging from what most personal trainers are doing with, using PT software, you really have to understand how to coach your clients on a psychological level, because we talk about influencing people and getting them to take action, but what are you using to make them take action? But that's really another topic for the day, and I really want to talk about this holistically, because it's something that I'm so passionate about. And I'm just going to go back to that business coach who says, well, John, if you're paying $50 on Facebook for a lead and that lead ends up making you $1,000. How many times would you do that? But here's the thing. What John doesn't understand is that John has to fulfill for the next 16 weeks. John has to keep in contact with that client day to day for the next 16 weeks. John has to spend a couple of hours, possibly 5 hours on the phone in order to make that sale. So John doesn't have a very good life. Okay. So running leads and generating leads isn't an issue. It's what happens in the back end. And the back end is really your conversion process, but ultimately your fulfillment process, getting that right. Because when you get that right, and then you can just run that Facebook ad and turn that switch on and spend money because you understand your numbers and you know how you're going to convert and you know what's happening when you fulfill, things start to become a lot easier. And I hope, I really know that this is going to hit home for some of you guys that are listening, or you might be thinking, what the hell is this Lynn guy on today? Like, he's a little bit hyped up about this and I've completely lost you. But if I've lost you, just head over into the Online Trainers Club group on Facebook and check it out. Check out some of the posts, only because I talk about this, because I'm really sick and tired of hearing these coaches going, hey, go and run this funnel and call people for, 10 hours, call all these leads that we just simply put onto Facebook, and they opt into a form where you grab their name and number. They don't know who you are, and basically you're calling them. And what generally happens is that you'll call these people, you'll spend the whole day and you'll spend 8 hours a day getting rejected 80% of the time, people wondering who the hell you are, why you're calling, and they get annoyed, they get pissed off, and in the end of the day you make one sale, and let's say you make $1,000 on that sale. Well, you haven't really made $1,000 that day, because now you've made $1,000 for 16 weeks worth of coaching one-to-one where you have to fulfill. Okay, so there's more to it than meets the eye, and I want you to get clear on this, because it's easy to fall into the trap, and it's easy to fall into that shiny new object, or that post that some guy puts up on Facebook telling you that, hey, it's all rainbows and sunshines, whereas it's a whole lot of hard work and it's a whole lot of being burnt out. So what I am telling you, and you might be thinking, well, Lynn, now that you've presented a problem, tell me the solution, right? And I've got a solution for you, but it requires hard work, it requires determination, and it requires you to being better. Okay. And here's the thing, if you're listening to this podcast and you offer a crap service and you're out there just to make money, this might not be for you. But if you're out there and you want to impact people on a greater level, get them actually results, build a legacy, and build something that you can be proud of, and that if we got you into the newspaper, you'd be like, yeah, that's awesome, I deserve to be in the newspaper, and we got you some PR, and we're literally getting your business on steroids, then that's great. That's what I'm all about. But here's where you need to begin, and you need to begin with the back end in mind. You need to have a look at, okay, if I had 100 clients to sign up to my program at the moment, what's a system that I can have in place that I can fulfill, and it would only take me an hour a day to really set them up. And that, my friends, is really setting yourself up with an online, almost a transformation system. I call it a core program. It's your ultimate program that's going to help your niche market get from point A to point B. It's going to solve all of their problems. It's going to give them the best transformation, and it's standardized across the board. And here's the thing, right? This whole complete customization thing, it's played a little bit overboard. Everybody feels as though they need complete customization in order to get results. And we know that's not true, because 80-90% of the time, if you use the 80-20 rule, you can get 80% of the results for 20% of the effort. I mean, if you can help your clients get their result, but not being dragged through the mud, they're going to appreciate that more than if you told them to eat 8 meals a day, calculate and calculate their macronutrients, and go on this really restricted calorie diet, do cardio 3 times a day and train 8 times a week. They're probably going to hate you. They're going to get 100% of the results. They're going to hate you. Whereas you can get them 80% of the results, and you can save them 80% of the work as well by just giving them 20% of the core basics. That's not to mean that you don't offer the customizational program. That's really your upsell. That's your really high premium. So you might sell your core program at $1,000, but you might offer an upsell at $2,000 to do the same thing, but now they get more access and they get complete customization. Okay, so this is where we get a little bit more technical, but if you stay with me, this can really add to your business growth. Now, going back, once you have your fulfillment system in place, and once you've built out a 16-week program, it might start out as a PDF document. It might transition once you've made money. Here's the thing. A lot of personal trainers say, Lynn, where do I begin? Well, how much should I be investing? Don't invest anything until you've made money. Okay. And then when you've made money, when you've sold a product and a program, use that money to invest back into your business, to build better systems, to build a better online platform, to generate better graphics and logos and stuff. Don't go out there and spend thousands of dollars building out a system that you've never sold. Sell the concept first and then build it out. But you have to get through with the bare basics. So this is what you might need for the bare basics. It could be a Google document. It could be a PDF file. It could be Excel spreadsheets. It might be a Google Drive. It might be Dropbox. It might be Snapchat. You can get by with all that. Once you've sold that program, then you kind of spice it up. From the first sale, you might use that $1,000 to go invest in a web developer, build out a membership site, and get the basics automated for you. Okay? That would be my advice. Now, going back to the selling system, everybody, I believe, the fastest way to sell yourself, the way that you don't need to learn about email copywriting, okay? Because there's this very specific way that you should be writing emails to persuade people to buy from you. You don't have to learn sales copy. That's just writing words that gets people to buy from you. If you're not a writer, we're a personal trainer. We're supposed to help people get into shape. These aren't the things that we're supposed to be an expert on. Sure, it might take you a few years to become really good. But in the meantime, for the personal trainer that really wants to make some money online, sales calls are going to be your best friend. But here's the thing, you're going to need a sales script. Because if you're able to develop a sales script, and going through a sales script, we can then, and this is the best bit, you can then afford to pay somebody commission or a coach or somebody to do the sales calling for you, and you might pay them 20% commission, okay? On the first couple of tries, you might have to run through that, but you're having a system that's running more efficiently, so that basically now you've got your back end in place, you've got your fulfillment, your core program, you've got a system for sales, and then now you can start generating the leads because you're flowing a lot more simultaneously and you're being a lot more efficient with the process. Now, in terms of the sales process, you might add a few warmers in, such as a few videos of them that they need to watch before they jump on to the call with you, so that you only get the serious applicants. You might set up something called Calendly, because with a sales call, it's all about positioning. And as we know, if we're chasing people down, people do not like to be chased, my friends. People hate to be chased. We hate to be chased. If there's a guy or a girl that's chasing us, that wants to go out with us, and they constantly call and they nag us, we're going to be repelled to them, okay? But if they're standing off and they're not really coming and approaching us because they know they're so good, we're going to be more attracted to them. That's just human nature. So in regards to positioning, and this is what I want to talk about a little bit later on, because I really want to share with you the insights on how you can position yourself better to obviously work with better clients, but work with better clients who are less stressed. They pay you more, they refer more people, they follow your programs and get results. That's the dream, right? It comes down to how you sell yourself. And ultimately, you need them to want to opt in for you, which means they need to book into your calendar. So we use this thing called Calendly, and it's just at your calendar where they can schedule in a call, they can book it in, and they'll get a reminder text message, they'll get reminder emails that they've got an actual call, so they can anticipate that. Okay. But one of the systems that you might implement for sales is really having a video series. And once you have that in place and you know your numbers and you know you can break down sales in a day, and you know that if you had 30 leads, you could spend a day and you'd crack open, you'd sell 15 of those 30 leads at $1,000 each. Well, now you've got, this whole process in place where you can literally go, okay, well, I've made 15 grand for that month. How much can I dedicate to spend on leads now? And then you can just say, look, I'm going to spend $5,000 on leads or $1,000 on leads. Most people don't have a lead generation problem. It's just you don't want to spend a lot on leads, okay? Because you don't want to spend a lot on leads only because you don't know your numbers, but every time you do get a lead, it's a bit of a hassle. So what I want you to start adopting especially on this podcast, is really having a look at your business. And as a solo fitness business owner, online fitness business owner, you're really going to be focused on these three, okay? It's your fulfillment. It's how you're getting your clients results. It's your sales systems, how you're selling and how you're converting your leads into clients. And then it's your marketing, how you're getting leads. Okay. That is the first three. And that's the most basic business model that you can ever follow, because as you grow, you might then have an IT support department for IT. You might then have a coaching department for all your coaches. Okay. And their personal development. But your chart at this very moment in time should be marketing, should be sales, should be fulfillment, until you hit and you can show yourself that you can sell $50,000 worth of coaching doing that model. Do not deviate. Okay, so I hope this podcast has helped you. If it has, please feel free to just write a raving review on iTunes. I'd absolutely appreciate that. I'd absolutely appreciate you coming into our online Trainers Club Facebook group. I'm trying to cultivate a community of personal trainers who want to actually thrive and not survive. Okay, so have a absolutely fantastic, cracking day, and I really hope that this has opened some light to you. If you have any questions, go into the group, ask away, and that way, if I can do a Q&A on questions, I'm more than happy to do that on the next podcast episode, but I'll see you on the next episode. All right, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and feel free to leave a review, and that way I can respond and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening.